What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am on the interior of the D100 working on the custom center console, a project that I started like a year ago. But I've got some new tools that should make this project a whole lot easier. Keep watching. A little over a year ago, I built the center console, and when I built it, I had always intended for it to come forward and come up and join with the original dash. Let me give you my point of view angle here so you can see that better. All right, so here you can see the center console. I planned for it to come down and then come up and join with the original dash. Let me shine a light on that there. There we go. So I'd always intended for it to come up and join with the original dash. Mainly, as you can see, I had to split the carpet to get it installed after I had built the frame for this center console. I also have the hole there for the transmission access, so I obviously want something there to cover all that up. So continuing this center console up into there just seems like the natural thing to do. Alright, so before I continue, in the spirit of honesty, transparency, and trying to show everyone what goes into projects like this, in my haste, in my desire to play with a new tool, here I am currently with putting this frame together. I kind of got ahead of myself. Again, wanting to play with a new tool and coming up with the design and trying to figure out how it was all going to work. I forgot to film. So this is where I'm at right now, but I am going to show the tools that I used and the learning curve that went into making these curves and getting basically a mirror image so that the left side and the right side were the same. So let's show that real quick, and then we'll continue putting this together. We'll continue figuring out exactly what's going to go into finishing this. So when I first built the center console, when I first started building the center console, I knew that I wanted the lower portion, or I knew I wanted it to curve up and join with the original dash. Again, it was to hide that transmission access, it was to hide the cut in the carpet. I knew I wanted that. But I also knew that I didn't want it to just come straight up. I knew I wanted it to come up and flare. So I knew the tool, or the tool set, that I was going to need to make that. And that's a shrinker stretcher. This is the stretcher. This is the shrinker. I knew this is what I was going to need in order to do that. So, but because of my work, I knew I was deploying, knew I was going to be gone for several months. I wasn't in any rush to get it, to get a set. And then this set just happened to go on sale from Eastwood a few months ago. No affiliation. I bought and paid for this set, my own money. No sponsorship, affiliation, nothing like that. I bought this set. So when I got home and I started to get to the point where I was ready to work on this center console, I made myself a little cheater stick, a cheater sample, basically so that I knew, which one the stretcher was, which one the shrinker was, just kind of basically, and it was also just kind of gave me an opportunity to play with it for a couple minutes and kind of learn it. Simple to use. The idea is simple enough that the stretcher, it clamps and then it spreads, and that allows, you can see see if I can get this to come in focus here. Here's the stretcher where you can see the teeth marks in it, and what that does is it gives you this curve. Same with the shrinker. It just gives you an outside curve. It pinches and squeezes, and that shrinks the metal, and that gives you this other curve. But I made this little example so that I could, rather than have to think too much and give myself a headache, I'd have a visual aid as far as, okay, if I want this to curve this way, okay, I need to use the stretcher. And then I want it to curve in, so I need the shrinker for that. Anyway, this was just for me, for my own. I would suggest it maybe if, so you don't get yourself confused when you first start using it. Great tools. Obviously, I mean, it made making that center section real simple. Simple is a relative term because I did the one side, got it right how I wanted it, and actually I built one out of a piece of scrap right here. This was the driver's side. You can see it curves up and then it curves out. This was for the driver's side. But once I got this, like I said, this was a piece of scrap that I just bent to give me an angle. Once I got ready to actually build it, I knew this was the exact shape I wanted for the front. So I ended up, the way that I built this was I had some 22 gauge sheet laying around, and I cut 1.5 inch wide strips. I don't have one that's already cut, but I have like this. So this is actually 1.5 inches wide. Let me get that. And then I just divided it, 3/4 of an inch, and I put it in break here, and I bent it 90 degrees. And this gave me my starting point. Then I could put it in the shrinker stretcher and get the shape that I wanted. So getting this and getting it right where I wanted it wasn't too difficult. The fun part was getting the right side to mirror the left side, to get this bend the same, this bend pretty much the same, so that when put in the truck, everything lined up right and matched. So let's see. Here is a cutoff. I have a ton of these right now because obviously trying to figure out how much to shrink something or how much to stretch something to get it to match was a pain. I got it, obviously, I got the frame together, but I'll just show you. So here's a curve. I'll show you what this took, how much back and forth this took to get, let's say, this to match this. So, like I said, this is the stretcher. Super simple. I don't have a stand for these. They do sell stands. I just obviously put it in my bench vise. I bolted a piece of thick angle to the bottom. I just clamp it in my vise, and then you just start work your way around. You can see how it, can you see? Yeah, you can see that. You can see just a couple squeezes in there, and it starts to curve it. But the fun part that I ran into was trying to get the two to match, and match in the right spot. I mean, you can see there, it's starting. It's not too bad, right? So this is actually here. So I need to bring this part up more. So if I come up higher on the curve, I said I'm not cranking on this thing. I'm just inching it down, just easing it down. All right, getting there. That may have been too much right there. I felt that one move. Almost, just about, just one little squeeze right here, and it should get it. And there you can see it's pretty close. Now, the bottom part wasn't too bad. This part here, getting this part here, this flare out to match on this side, that was a different story. So like I said, I have a pile of cutoffs here where, nope, messed it up, cut another 1.5 inch strip, put it back in the brake, bend it, and start over. But as you can see, it's simple enough and doesn't, no effort at all. Like I said, it doesn't take much. Just throw your piece in there and get to bending it. Now I also have my piece right here on the back. So put this in a position here. This part here goes back to the firewall. So I had to, right here it actually mounts up to the bracket for the gas pedal. So I had to bring it out. So here you can see the shape of it. I had to bring it out and then back over to where it could line up with the gas pedal bracket. And I welded a nut in there, and that way I can just put a bolt in there, and that bolts it up. But then I also had to match up the passenger side. And then the back piece along the firewall, that curves to match the contour of the firewall. And then once I got it all put in place, clamped together, and I was happy with it, I welded it up. Obviously I still got some welds to clean up. I've got to patina it so it matches the rest of the interior. But what I'm going to do now, where I'm at now with this, is I'm actually ready to start on the side pieces. Now, I had built this center panel, and I'll show you that in a minute. I built this out of, I think it was 1/8 inch MDF that I cut grooves into so that it could make this curve. I didn't want to do MDF on the side because it's too thick, and this was going to be not only a curve this way, you can see that curve there, but it was also going to curve this way. So what I'm using for that is ABS plastic. I ordered a sheet from one of the big blue box store, I think. And then I had, I gotta re-glue that. I had come up with a template. I had put this in the truck, and then I had come up with a template that I then traced onto the ABS, cut it out, put it back in the truck, clamped the ABS in there, and it matched up pretty good. Now I got to do the other side. So I'll get set up and work on that. Alright, so here I am working on the passenger side. I have the template here, the original template that I used for the driver's side. Now, ideally, if I built this well enough, ideally, this should work. Now I know it's going to be a little bit shorter depth-wise because I had to bend this bracket back. Oop, I got a wire stuck in there. I had to bend the rear piece back a little bit because the firewall kind of, it sticks out a little bit further there than it does over here. So I know that it's going to be a little bit, this template's going to be a little short to go all the way back here. But if I throw this template up in here, so I have it up here in the corner. So yeah, I'm a little shy back there, just a couple of inches. But the curve here, now again, it's going to go behind here, should work out pretty well. So I can use this template. Actually, if I tape it in place, then I can measure how short this is, and then I can cut the new one to the correct size. So, all right. So I know that this template needs to go about an inch. I'll make it 7/8. Actually, I'll make it 3/4, just to be a little bit of breathing room in there. But yeah, about 7/8, 3/4, somewhere along there. It's not gonna be, it'll be perfect because it's gonna get, I have other plans for rather than just running black ABS here. So let's get this transferred over to some ABS and we'll cut it out. Now that I got my template done, I'm going to be transferring that over to ABS. And this is the ABS I'm going to be using. It is 060 thick, so it's real flexible. It's also, as you can see, it's got a smooth side and it's got a textured side. I'm going to be putting this textured side out, not because I'm going to be leaving this exposed, because what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be covering the ABS in vinyl. Now this is the same vinyl. It's got a kind of a leather, like a faux leather look to it. This is the same vinyl that I used for my kick panels and for my lower door panels. I also use it on the armrest of the center console. So I'm going to be covering the ABS in vinyl. But I'm going to be doing that with contact cement. So I want the texture side out, just kind of think it might give it just some more bite. And then the back side of it, I'm going to be putting some of this peel and seal. I guess it's like a rubberized insulation. It's almost like Dynamat type stuff. I bought this at that big blue box store. I've used it on the insides of my doors, which it worked great there. So I'm going to be using it on the inside of this panel just to give the panel a little more heft, and to kind of hopefully drown out any more sound coming up from the floorboards. Even though I do have actual Eastwood's X-Mat, I think it's called, on the entire floor of the truck. I'm just going to add it to the back side of these panels. Again, just to give it some more heft, just to keep this from being as flexible as it is. The reason why I got the 060 was because of those multiple curves in those side pieces. I thought it'll make making those curves easier, and I thought I might have to heat it up to kind of help take some of those curves. But once I got this one cut out and actually temp installed it with some clamps and put it in there, it fit great, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. But I did get the template transferred over to the ABS. Now, the other issue I'm running into with this ABS is, if I lay the template on here, you can see it's not wide enough. So, no big deal, it's just plastic, it's ABS. I just took some of the scrap, used basically some crazy glue, some CA glue, and made it wider. And then continued. Like I said, this is all going to be covered with vinyl and the sound insulation anyway. So having a joint there is no big deal. It's glued the entire seam, plenty strong, work good, last a long time. All right, so when I first cut this out, I had used just a regular razor blade, and while it worked good, I just had to score it. You could snap it, but 10 snips work even better. Just especially with the curves, quick work. So I'm gonna get this cut out, and then I will clamp it to the center console, and we'll get the center console put back in, and we'll check the fit, make sure there's nothing that needs to be trimmed up, and we'll go from there. Everything put together, cut out. Let's get it installed in the truck and see how it looks. Now that I've got the panel trimmed and fit the way that I want it, I had to trim that second panel a little bit, but I'm ready to start mounting the vinyl. So here I've cut a piece of vinyl that is just a bit larger than the panel itself, enough that I can fold it over and glue it to the back side a bit. But I'm ready to start applying the vinyl to the panel. And to do that, I'm going to be using some of this 3M Super 77 contact adhesive. It's just a matter of spraying a coat on the vinyl, spray a coat onto the panel, let it set for about 5 minutes, and then join them on up. Let's get to it. I'm running out of this stuff. I have some other adhesive, the Loctite spray adhesive, so I'm probably going to run out of this, so I'll end up having to go to that. Any contact adhesive. I've also used, and I will use on this on the backside, Barge contact adhesive. It's a brush on. That stuff's super strong. I'll use that on the backside. That way, when this folds over to the back, then that'll be really secure and it won't come undone. All right, so let's get this going. Let that set up for 5 minutes or so, and then we'll get it applied. All right, it's been about 5 minutes or so. Let's go ahead and get these joined up. Now, this stuff is contact adhesive, so pretty much as soon as it touches, that's it. So where it lands is where it's staying. So make sure you're lined up and you got everything right where you want it, because it's going to be on there. I have a roller used to try to get all the air pockets out, make sure it's well adhered. Luckily, it's not quite ready, so I was able to pull that up. You can see I'm getting a crinkle in it. Luckily, my impatience has saved me. Had this been completely ready to go, once that touched, that probably would have been it, and I would have been stuck with that wrinkle in there. So be warned, it's contact adhesive. Normally, once it's fully cured and ready to go, once it touches, that's it. Like I said, my impatience, it's still just a little bit tacky, so you can see the paper towel is actually starting to adhere to it. I use the paper towel just to kind of protect the bench a little bit. I don't want to get contact adhesive all over my bench. Making a mess. But there you go. That is on there. Now for the back side, like I said, I'll probably use Barge, and I'm just going to brush it along the edges here and then fold it over, brush some onto the vinyl also, fold it over, and that'll lock it in place. Actually, this is thin enough. I could probably just use this stuff, but I need to plan this out a little bit better. Yeah, I'm just going to use the give that 5 more minutes and we'll get it folded over and adhered. Alright, so it's been just about 5 minutes. It's just getting past the tacky stage. So now I can start just folding this over and gluing it into place. Trying to pull it as tight as I can just to kind of slack in the piece. Just a tight seam along the bottom. see any creases in it, I want them on the back. I obviously don't want any creases coming around to the front side. So I'm pulling it tight here and pulling all the little creases to the back side. Making some relief cuts in there so it can make this curve. I don't know how well you can see that there. One panel. Just got to trim up the back side, add some of the sound insulation, and then this one will be ready for the next step. And then I just got to go ahead and do the same thing to the other panel, and they'll both be ready for the next step. All right, so once your panels are done and ready to get installed, next step is to figure out how you're going to install them to your frame. Now, for me, I'm going to continue with what I did to the original part of the center console, where I mounted the corner pieces and the back and everything. I did it all with pop rivets. I wanted it to look more industrial. I think with the patina that I did on the bare metal, which I'm going to do to this frame, with the leather look of the vinyl and those pop rivets, it just really, I really like the effect of it. So I'm going to be using pop rivets again to mount the panels to the frame. I've already started here. I already punched some holes here, and I was messing around a little bit trying to figure out the best way to do this. Not the best way. I already know how I'm going to do this. I'm going to be using this hole punch. I'm going to be punching 3/16 inch holes because those are the, got one right here actually. The pop rivets I'm going to be using are 3/16 rivets. So I've got the pattern laid out on the frame. Now I'm going to use the hole punch to punch the holes. Better than sitting here with a drill and drilling them all out. There's going to be a few that I have to drill where it gets close to like intersecting pieces where I just can't get in there with the hole punch. So those I'll have to drill, but for the most part I can use the hole punch to punch all these holes. So that's what I'm going to do. So as you can see, because of the bend in the frame, it's kind of distorting the frame a little bit because I have to kind of go in at an angle to get the hole punched, but nothing a little body hammer or regular hammer can't straighten out. So it's actually the next day, and I left the frame to patina overnight. Here you can kind of see, if I can get a good angle on it, there we go. You can kind of see how I got that patina look on there. If you want to see how I did that, I'll leave a link to the video that I did about a year ago where I did the center console and the door panels. Again, I'll leave a link up here. It kind of smells like vinegar. Little hint. All right, so I'm going to put a coat of matte clear on this just to kind of lock it in to keep it from coming off. And then we'll be able to assemble the side pieces and the front. All right, so there it is. There's the mostly assembled final piece. I mean, obviously I still got to finish doing all the pop rivets around the front piece here and down and for the side panels. This front piece was actually 1/8 inch, or is actually 1/8 inch MDF that I just cut some grooves in so it could make this curve. And again, I just used that same vinyl on the front. But yeah, so it's mostly done. Like I said, I just got finished doing all the pop rivets. But let's throw it in the truck and see how it looks. All right, there I've got the mostly completed front portion of the center console installed. I really like the way this turned out. I mean, like I said, it's not done yet. I still got to figure out what I'm going to do with that blank area there. I'm thinking about adding a couple of air vents, kind of like the ones that are like those, like these right here. Thinking about getting a couple of these and installing them down here on the sides. And then I have an idea what I want to do with the center. I gotta go on eBay and see if I can find something. But yeah, so I mean, there you can kind of see if I can get down in here. There's the side piece down along the footwell on the gas pedal, the clearance there, plenty of room. If I swing around to this side, you can see maybe see down along the floorboard there on the passenger side floorboard. To me it was, hold on, magnet. All right. To me, you know, I really wanted this to be easily removable, so that I can get to the transmission access. You know, if I ever wanted to pull the dash for anything, this piece was easily removable. So it's only held in place with 6 screws. So there's one here and here that basically blend right in with the rivets almost. And then I put in 3 self-tapping screws here into the dash for the front. And then there's that one that bolts in along the back there to the gas pedal bracket. Take those 6 out and this lifts, the front lifts up, thing slides right out. So that was important to me. Again, you know, I wanted to be able to get access in there easily. So eventually I may end up adding, I'm thinking about putting the radio here. And then I got to figure out what to do with kind of like, let's see if I can get a good angle on it. I got to figure out what to do about this right here. I'm probably going to close off, that's the old ashtray. I'm probably going to close that off. And I may add something here. I got an idea for that. I got to see how it turns out. But there it is. All right, so there it is. Just a few more bits and pieces, a few more rivets, whatever, and that center console should be done. Thanks for watching. Now get out in your garage, your workshop, and build something. I mean, that's kind of the point, right? Learn something new, have some fun doing it. See y'all later. Thanks.